Welcome back to On the Edge with me, Theo Chalmers, and my special guest, John Hemming. We were just talking about how enormously complex these issues are. Do you think that there might be a space here for some sort of arbitration, something that is less formal than a court, something where the parents are allowed to put their case?
I think that one of the things we should try to do is use what are called family group conferences and try to get that in before the courts. And that would give the extended family an in on there. Now, obviously, there are feuds that happen within families. You can't just say everybody who is, shares one of the grandparents can turn up or something like that. But a family group conference is a way forward. One of the other problems you have with the family court is that to be a party to the family court is a difficult process, and very often grandparents are have assessments made about their ability to care without the ability to challenge those in court. So in other words, somebody says, you're no good as a grandparent, you can't look after these children in front of the judge, and you can't be there to challenge it.
You can't be there even?
You can't be there, no.
So this is made, what, in a closed session?
But this is a family court, isn't it?
But the parents can be at the family.
The parents can be there.
But the grandparents aren't allowed to be there.
But the grandparents are not allowed to be there unless they ask for permission to be a party. And they can only potentially win that. And very often lawyers will charge you 5-10 grand to just try and get you to be a party. All right? Well, it's more
outrageous.
License to print money for lawyers.
Where is the natural justice in that?
Bread and butter for local family lawyers. So they'll charge you 5-10 grand because you don't get legal aid
as a grandparent.
You will get legal aid as a parent, but not as a grandparent.
But surely it's all about acting in the best interests of the child or children.
It's all about making money, isn't it?
Well, it's your government. You're in it. What are you doing about it, John?
I'm a Liberal Democrat.
Well,
so
I know, but you're in Parliament.
What I'm doing, we're doing lots of stuff in Parliament to try and deal with this, but the government's turning a blind eye to it a lot of the time. For instance, I've been trying to study to find out exactly how many children die from child abuse and neglect in England.
Right.
There is a thing called a serious case review, a Part 8 serious case review, which is supposed to happen when a child dies from child abuse or neglect. And there was a very good report written by David Rose in the Mail on Sunday recently that's worth looking up on the net about this.
Okay.
And so I asked the government, can you give me a list? And they said no. So I wrote to all 157 children's services authorities in England.
Just in England?
And I said, can you give me a list? And some of them did. I didn't want the names of the children, I just want initials, gender, age, month of death.
Right. These are only the ones who were killed in...
The ones who died, because it's a threshold. Obviously, you would be intervening short of death, like shooting on the backside with a gun, you would intervene, right, even if the child doesn't die. But the problem you have, if you want to compare how different countries do, you have to have a test to compare.
Yes.
And
you need facts, don't you?
You need facts that are statistically reliable. If a child has died, that's pretty definable. They've died. So you can compare that from country to country, which is what UNICEF do. And so what the government did was they wrote to all the local authorities and said, don't tell him.
No.
Yes, they did.
About freedom of information?
Well, I'm using freedom of information. We've actually got to the stage, it was last week, that the caseworker from the ICO's office... So, now, let me finish the story. I haven't finished the story yet, because, in fact, when the government told people not to tell me, by that point, a number of local authorities had already told me. Because it's a very strange thing, and they don't really know what they're doing. So a number of authorities had told me. In fact, we got down to 21 local authorities hadn't told me. We're now down to 17. And what's important is this: the government sends internationally through the Department of Health statistics on how many children die from child abuse and neglect in the year, and they're saying 11 in 2006. And our figures look more like 150.
Now, these are just all children. These are not just children in care.
Well, no, it's not children, because obviously Baby P, for instance, it's the Baby P stories. Right?
Yes.
Baby P was not in care.
No.
Now, Baby P, Lynn Featherstone will tell you if you ask her, there's a smoking gun memorandum where the council told social services, children's services, to stop taking children into care at around about the time Baby P should have been taken into care.
So why was this woman victimised, this head of social services that was...
Well, head of children's services.
Head of children's services.
Who was the expert in... well, you have a complex question, which is that Haringey, when inspected by Ofsted, got 3 stars and were told they're really brilliant. Okay?
That's what she was saying. That was her defence, wasn't it? We got 3 stars.
I know. But the problem is that she was in charge when, through her hierarchical structure, they decided to stop taking children into care. All right? Whilst they were still had taken children into care for a mother, amongst other reasons. This is in Haringey, talking to children in a way to undermine their self-esteem.
What, you naughty child? That sort of...
Well, you're all stupid.
Okay.
That sort of thing, all right? Yes, very strange. So they were chock-a-block in care with children who shouldn't have been in care. Well, not chock-a-block, but there were some examples of children who shouldn't have been in care.
Okay. In your opinion?
I would think you'd agree with me on that as well. Would you put a child into care for being told they're stupid?
I suppose if it was intense, the you are stupid routine, it might need care.
Yeah, but
self-esteem is an important thing, isn't it?
Self-esteem is important, but wouldn't it be better to try and deal with things a slightly different way than putting him in care and putting him to jail later?
I don't have an opinion.
You don't have
John.
an opinion, right? Fair enough. You're not required to have an opinion. But so the responsibility there lasts with the management decision to stop taking children into care.
Okay. So let's just get back to this. You got all these figures in from the councils around England of the number of children generally in the population
that died as a result of child abuse or neglect.
Okay, and you think it's something like, even with those 17 councils missing, you think it's about 150?
Ofsted give figures of 150 to 200. I want to get to the bottom of this first, because there are cases like there was a child who died from a mother getting drunk and rolling over the child. All right.
Oh, I heard about that. That was a baby, wasn't it? Very small infant.
Those happen from time to time, but this happened to be in a parental assessment centre run by a local authority. So here we have a parental assessment centre run by a local authority. This thing happens, mum gets drunk and rolls on the baby. Now, when we asked the local authority workers, why did you allow this sort of situation where she's getting drunk, they said, because we wanted to know how much alcohol she drank.
They stole her in a brewery, did they, or something? Here we are, madam, there's gin, whiskey.
Something like that. And it'd be interesting to see if there's a serious case review for that one.
And presumably, and I mean, this is only a guess, but presumably if she was at home, the baby would have been in a cot or something, and not in bed with her.
No, you can't say necessarily that wouldn't have happened at home. So, you know, it's like, to me, it shows the wrong sense of priorities. The priority was assessment, rather than the priority being the safety of the child. Do you see what I mean? So
I do certainly see what
that's
you mean.
where my concern rests with that particular case. But
it is almost like an experiment on the child, isn't it?
Well, yes, they're not really, and it partly, again, it's driven by the family court proceedings because they need the assessments, like the assessment of you can't keep your baby because you let it play on a mat with another baby. It's mad.
I cannot get over that.
I can't get over it either, but that's one of the reasons they gave. They give lots of reasons. Now,
so basically, whatever happens, you're going to lose.
The idea, they set the system up to make people fail. And
yes, that's quite clear.
It's dreadful. It really is dreadful. And, you know, we through Justice for Families, we try to provide help for people in courts through Mackenzie Friends, but they have to do it. If people want to work with us, they have to be willing to do a lot of work themselves. They can't expect us to do it for them.
They generally do feel very strongly, though, don't they?
Of course they do, yeah.
So I would imagine that asking them to do a lot for themselves is not
No, but some people have a feeling that somebody will come in and do everything for them. Well, we won't.
What a white knight.
Yeah, we've got a procedures thing on the website that people can look at, but what we do is there are a number of volunteer Mackenzie Friends who will go into court with people. They will help people. Because one of the problems you get is this. To appeal a decision of the court, you need a judgment. The judgment is the judge's reasons for making the decision that the judge makes.
And if you can't get that because they've lost